Hello, friends, and welcome to Shine with Marilena Cortez and Mark Sedgwick. Hope you're having a fabulous fall. We are here today to introduce to you an amazing author, publisher, community leader, and a light in the world through the storytelling and the power of print. So let's welcome Vuthy Kuon.
Hello, hello, Vuthy. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you guys? I'm excited.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for joining us. So for those of you who don't know, I'm in Colorado. Vuthy, where are you?
I'm in Texas. I'm in Fort Worth.
Yes, and Mark?
I'm in Houston still making moves over here.
Yes, and that's my beautiful son, always shining bright with his light and his positivity. So he's the co-host of Shine, and I'm honored to have you as well each and every time on our podcast. So Mark, thank you again for continuing to lead the show.
Hey, absolutely. I'm super happy to be back. You know, it's been a few months, or it's been a couple of months, I believe, we had the last episode. So it's really good to be back, and we're really excited.
Yes, COVID is not going to stop us.
Go ahead.
You know, COVID is not going to stop us. There might be some delays, but we're still going to share the light and share the adventures and the amazing people that have crossed our path. And Mark, you had the cool adventure of meeting Vuthy when you were just a little boy 15 years ago. And Vuthy, I don't know if you remember Mark, he was just a little tiny kid back then.
Yeah, he was so cute.
So cute.
What happened to you, Mark? No, now he's handsome. He's a handsome young man now.
And super bright, super bright. But you know, years ago, you and I met at a school book signing. You came to my school, and I had not even, I wanted to publish a book, but I really wasn't sure how. I really didn't even know if I should be a writer. And there you were in my school, drawing through your beautiful illustrations at the cafeteria. I believe it was Hicks Elementary in Aileen.
Yes.
Yes, that was like a long time ago. And so tell us, how did you even get started with all this?
Well, before I answer that, I wanted to kind of build on what you just said. Do you remember where we had our first meeting?
At a coffee shop, I believe.
Where?
Barnes and Nobles. It was a Barnes and Nobles, I think.
I thought it was a Randall's.
Or it could have been a Randall's. I don't remember. That was 15
But
years
I
ago.
remember it being a Randall's, and I've never met anybody at a Randall's.
Okay, the first time,
Starbucks,
yes.
Yeah.
I think so, the first time.
Yeah.
But it was for coffee at the...
Yeah, I remember that. I thought that was the thing is, you were very unique. I remember when I first met you, you just radiated positivity. And I already knew you had the makings of, you know, an author, a speaker, a performer, an influencer. So like, I already knew right off the bat that, you know, you had the it factor, you know, but there were, you know, it was early on. And, you know, of course you had, you know, there's, you know, life happens, you know, you have some up times and down times and so forth. So, you know, but I saw that in you, and I was, yeah, just very impressed by you. And then when I met your kids, I was very impressed by them. There's wonderful kids as well. And yeah, so anyway, but now to answer your real question, I started off, let's see, I attended college at the Rhode Island School of Design. I studied illustration, and so I wanted to be an illustrator. I loved art, and so there was like one of the top visual art schools in the country, and my professors were renowned children's book authors and illustrators themselves. And so when I studied with them, I was so inspired by them. I wanted to do what they did. So I did a college work study program with two of my professors, David McCauley and Barry Moser. And they helped me go through the whole process of making my very own children's book. And so that's where Humpty Dumpty After the Fall came out. This book here, which I'm most known for. So this came out, let's see, I was in college in the 1990s. So 1993, 94, I started writing and illustrating it. And yeah, so it all started from a degree project from college. So yeah, a lot of details there, but I won't bore you.
No, no, but you know, that's fascinating for, sometimes we don't know where we're going to go. When we're in college, we're like in search, right? We're still searching. Where do we want to go for once we get that degree? And a lot of people don't even practice what they end up going to school for, right? So when you have the honor and the privilege to continue that path and that journey, I think that just adds so much more joy. You love what you do, and it shows when you show up at the schools and you're presenting and sharing the stuff with the kids. I call it sharing your light, sharing your gifts. Mark, today we were going to share a quote about sharing your gifts. You ready to share that quote?
Yes, yeah, it's kind of something along those lines. It's kind of a little bit more, you know, character-ish because we're having Vuthy Kuon on the show. So this quote is by Uncle Ben from the movie Spider-Man, and it's with great power comes great responsibility. So I kind of think that relates because we have this power called our talents and our gifts, right? So if we don't use our talents and our gifts, we're kind of you know, kind of ruining our responsibility as creatures here on this earth to share that light with other people, you know? And
yes.
Vuthy Kuon's kind of unique circumstance, his college, he chose the right path that he would want to pursue after college, right? It's like design, illustrating books, creating books, right? How do you create books? That's the whole question, right? How do you create a book? How do you start the process? How do you write out the rough drafts? How do you get it printed out? You know, all these questions people have, they're blocks. But if you surround yourself like Vuthy Kuon did in his college area, all the information just kind of flowed in.
Yeah, actually, I'd like to answer that question by going way, way back to my childhood, because one thing that I love to share with kids when I travel, I do school visits and speak to kids, make them laugh and try to inspire them through books. I think you have to start from the root, the fundamentals, because a lot of times people want to be successful and do it all like boom, it's done, but they forget all the little steps that it takes to get there, you know? So with the fundamentals, for me, I think that it stems from childhood. When I was young, you know, I was born in Cambodia during the Vietnam War. There was a Cambodian Civil War there too, and we were actually evacuated from our country. So we lived in Phnom Penh, that's the capital of Cambodia. And when the Pol Pot took over, the Khmer Rouge took over, they basically had everyone move out and just leave the country. So we had to find a new place to go. So we went, I think we went on like a cargo plane and went to a refugee camp in Thailand. And so from there, we had to wait to see what was going on because we really didn't know. We thought we were going to go back to our country, but we couldn't. We weren't allowed to. So my uncle was actually in the military, and he was able to kind of get us in to be sponsored by a family in America. And so we flew from Thailand to United States when I was 3 years old. We stayed in California. At Camp Pendleton, I believe, and then eventually came to Houston and started a new life. So when I first started, like I remembered everything was so new and fresh, and it was you know, grocery stores were bigger, and so I really wanted to, because I came from another country and you know, we didn't have any money, like any opportunity that I saw to maybe make a little bit of money to help my parents, because we're, you know, they were struggling as well, I would try to take it. So as a kid, you know, I would like sell like my drawings. I'll do little drawings and then sell them for like 10 cents.
That's
and then
beautiful.
people liked them a lot, and so I started upping my prices to like 25 cents. So I started selling little drawings for 25 cents. Pretty soon I sold Snickers bars for the Spanish club. So I actually used to take Spanish, and I'm terrible at it, but I would sell Snickers bars because we would have a fundraiser and sell Snickers, and then I sell them so quickly. Everyone wants to eat a Snickers bar at school that I started having my mom go to Sam's, buy extra Snickers bars, pack it into my Spanish Club bag, and sell them. And then I would raise money so I could pay for my own lunch, so my mom wouldn't have to give me money for lunch. So,
oh, brilliant, brilliant.
Yeah, so a lot of little things like that happened when I was young. So I became like a little entrepreneur when I was young. Then I started, teachers wanted to buy, paintings that I would do. I made hacky sacks, with, put rice in it because Chinese love rice. So I put rice grains in there and sew it up. And so I would make handmade hacky sacks and sell them. So I had all these little businesses that I had when I was a little kid. And so I think because of that foundation, it was much easier for me to, be a risk taker and start my own company and make books and sell books, and also now help other people do it as well. So
that is so beautiful. I love your story because you were born an entrepreneur. Like you said, you were already with that thirst of becoming a businessman. And when I met you, I had no idea that, I remember you said, one day I'm going to have my potion company. Let's, do something together. I want to read your stories. And there it was, a year later, we connected, and that's when it all started to happen. And so I applaud you for sticking to your dreams and goals and fighting for them and making them come true. So that's not easy. Sometimes we plan up here where we want to do all these things, but it's not very often that people actually complete those dreams or achieve those dreams. So what finally got you to do it and become a publisher?
Great question. When I went to art school, so I knew I wanted to do illustrating, or I wanted to do art somehow, and I didn't know how. Because I met my professors at college, I decided I want to illustrate children's books, but I didn't know how I was going to make money on it, and how I was going to use that as a career. So I wasn't sure. Yeah. I graduated college, and then so I had to decide what job I wanted, because I had several different job offers. I decided to start teaching art and photography in Fort Worth. And my brother told me, because I got his advice, I said, what should I do? I have all these different job offers. I could be a graphic designer in Houston. I could be a illustrator's apprentice in California. I could stay in Rhode Island and do industrial design at the job that, I already had. What should I do? He said that whatever you choose, most likely you won't be doing it forever. So when he told me that, I was like, for some reason, if that's the truth, then I want to teach. I don't know. For some reason, it just made everything clear. Like, I wanted to work with children. I wanted to coach them up. I wanted to share knowledge, because I thought if I was going to be an illustrator, for the rest of my life, then I'm not going to get to teach ever again unless I take it now,
Oh,
and so
nice.
That's what I did. So I taught for 2 years, and I really enjoyed it. And I think God kind of planned it that way, because that way I got to work with kids. I got to work with schools. So I learned kind of, because I was in my early 20s graduating from college. And so I had to kind of learn, a lot of these different skills in order to do what I do now. Because now I work with schools, I work with kids, plus I also illustrate and write books. And so I'm combining all those skills together. So I think the good Lord had it planned out, and he knew that, if I learn these different skills and add it to my already existing skills, then that could be a good recipe for, success later on in what I'm doing.
I don't know if you're getting the same message here, but my mind is blown right now, because that's like my plan almost to the T for what I'm doing, to teach for maybe a couple of years while I'm doing the first books and doing the first presentations and learning the ropes and the business and everything behind the scenes, right? But yeah, I definitely plan to teach for a couple years as well. That's kind of funny. And
exactly. That's awesome. I'll bet you, there's this Enneagram. Have you heard of Enneagrams? Like, it's kind of like a personality test, kind of like a church developed it. But I can't remember what number I was. So, but basically, the number one job that they said that I should have, given my personality taking the test, they said like an author and a speaker. I was like, what? How is that like number one on a list of any, I mean, that's such a rare thing, but they listed that as like the perfect thing for me. So I'm thinking your son might have the same number as me.
I know, you never know, but you know, I love that you're sharing that with our audiences, because I feel like a lot of youth wants to go straight and jump at something, you know, that they want to do, but they don't think of what's going to prepare me for that. And that is the key. I used to always tell Mark, okay, yeah, dream big, but what's going to get you from point A to point B and then to point C? Because then that's going to prepare you for your final destination. So whoever told you that back then was kind of on the right page. And I'm so glad you were smart enough to get it, you know? Because a lot of times we tell our kids things that it goes in one ear, out the other, they don't get it. That's one of the things I love about my son. He gets it. I don't have to be drilling the same thing over and over. He gets it. And sometimes, you know, we don't want to hear that from our parents. We don't, or a mentor or somebody who's guiding us, you know. But we, you know, if we really pay attention to those little small pieces of advice, it would really help us in the long run. It was going to prevent us from a lot of headaches.
Yes.
So I love that you share that.
I want to add something. I got to also say, though, I'm pretty impatient right now, though. Like, I feel very...
Yes, you are.
And I'm questioning. I'm like, should I even do the teaching? I'm getting this degree. I'm already in year 4. Should I keep pursuing, though? I'm very close. I got another year or 2 left, right? And I'm done. I got the teacher degree, teacher certification, right? So it's like, should I just do that, dedicate the next 2 years to that, or dedicate the next 2 years to the presenting and the creating? Or, of course, do both, which is where I am at right now. I'm just going to do both, right?
Yeah, I think both would be great. But here's, from my own experience, when I started teaching, you know, I just graduated, so what, I was like 22 years old. And I thought, I was teaching art and photography. So I thought in my head that, oh, I could teach and also be a freelance illustrator at the same time. You know, because I could do one during the day, the others I could do in the evening and weekends, you know. But when I started teaching, I was so exhausted by the end of the day that I didn't want to do anything else. Like if you, because I think I feel you, you know, I know when you do something, you're going to put your all into it. And when you do, it takes a lot of energy out of you when you pour a lot in. Now, if you didn't care and you just like, whatever, you just want a paycheck or whatever, it might be different. But if you really put your heart and soul into something and you do your best, you know, it really takes a lot out of you. Like a lot of times when I speak, like if I speak, let's say 5 days in a row, right? Monday through Friday, 4 sessions every day, boom, 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 signing books, smiling and, you know, autographing and talking to people. By a lot, like early on, by the time Friday rolled around and the weekend comes, I would literally get sick. Like I would get sick because I was so exhausted. I put so much into it that I would get sick for the weekend. But then the weekend's over and I have another gig on Monday, then boom, I snap right back into it and I'm not sick anymore and I'm ready to go again. But it's funny. Sometimes you might think, oh, I can do both. I can do it all. And some people can, but I don't know, teaching, for me, it was very.
No, that's teaching for
tough.
Everyone. Yes.
Yeah.
Because I mean, even no, I gave it my all, and you know, when we met and I was teaching and I was juggling both, it was the biggest challenge of my life. Not only that, I was a single mom on top of it, and it made it even triple the work, right? And I know exactly what you mean. So I mean, I think for someone young like Mark, he doesn't have children. He doesn't have those other extra adult responsibilities. I think, you know, he might be able to juggle. He tried it a few times when I was teaching and he was in school. He's come with me to some of the presentations. So Mark, I really feel like you do have the energy to do, at least to experiment, give it a try. You've done it already. So it's not like you are going to try it. You've already been doing it and trying it. So I think you're on the right path. Just don't overdo it where you get so burned, so tired, where you're like, these book stuff is not for me. Or you might say, oh, this teaching stuff is not for me either. So learn to balance it. Learn when to say stop or no more, or I need a break. Because a lot of times we don't do that. We overdo it and we end up getting sick or we get burned out.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm you know, that's kind of future stuff. Right now, I'm just focusing on school and then doing as much as I can without fatiguing myself too much, like focusing on creating the book. That's what I'm doing right now. So,
So I want to go back to the Annoying Little Brother. So this book started, and many of you know, was inspired by my son Mark and my daughter Alexis. And Wuthy and I had a discussion the first time. Let's talk about that, Wuthy. When you and I sat down to share the notes, the writing, right? The beginning of the
Yes.
of the Annoying Little Brother, because a lot of people think, oh, I'm just gonna write this and this is what's gonna be it. Sometimes you have to produce many writings, many titles, right? To just come up with the final product. And you published
Yes.
already over what, 20 books? Helping and collaborating with others as well?
I have a total of over 100 books published, either as a writer, illustrator, or publisher. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, but the ones I've
You're a pro.
illustrated, yeah, probably like about 30 something, between 30 or 40 that I've illustrated. So I'm mostly known for illustrations, but published total over 100. Yeah.
So let's talk about that process, the beginning process, because maybe there's somebody out there that's listening that wants to learn, okay, what do I do if I want to publish a book? So first, you remember we sat down, you told me, these are not that the best topics, right? What do you look for? And maybe if you remember our discussion from the Annoying Little Brother, you want to share that with our audience?
Yeah, I remember, and like I said, like, I don't, you know, maybe I'm wrong, but I really think we met at Originals. But anyway, I don't know why that's so interesting to me. But I remember you brought your journal, because I told you, okay, I want all your ideas, okay? Just totally, like, wipe the slate clean. Like, you know, we're going to find out what is the best first book, okay? And you told me, I know what that first book is going to be. And it was something like My Life is a Garden, or something, yeah, something to that effect.
It's a book about flowers in my life, but flowers is a little girl. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I think you had it in your mind that was your first book, and you knew it. And when I heard that, I was like, you know, I'm not sure that will be your first book with me. You know, maybe somewhere else, but then you brought your journal, and we started flipping through it, and you know, I saw a lot of your sketches and ideas, and then I saw where you wrote My Little Brother, and you had a little you know, just a short little poem or something like that, you know, about my little brother.
Yeah, it was about my kids, my daughter and my son. And it was about not really getting along. Yeah.
Yes. So and so when I saw that, like, that connected to me. Like, when I read that, like, the flowers and garden, like, there might be people who love flowers and gardens, but, you know, when you're really trying to reach the masses, you want to reach the heart, you know? And so when I saw My Little Brother, and I knew it was about, you know, your son and your daughter, I was like, that reaches my heart, and I know it reaches your heart, and I know, therefore, it's going to reach a lot of other people's hearts. And so, therefore, I was like, you know what? I think this is it. You know, but I'm like, but you know what? Let's add a little pizzazz. I was like, you know, I read it, and I was like, why don't we add, you know, it seemed like the brother in the character was, you know, a little annoying, a little trouble, you know, like, you know, troublemaker a little bit.
Trouble in a good way.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we can tell he's awesome. But, you know, when he was younger, you were telling me, you know, he annoyed, you know, his big sister and everything. And so I said, why don't we add the word annoying and say my annoying little brother? And so we reach the heart, but we also reach, you know, the funny bone too. So we can kind of like make it humorous, make kids enjoy it, and then you know, touch the parents' hearts. And so we came up with My Annoying Little Brother. Then we went back and forth on, like, you know, how we can you know, embellish it and add to it. And I just asked you questions like, what has he done that's annoying? You know, what, and then so we just discussed it, and we came up with this, you know, great manuscript that was simple, heartfelt, and I love it. I think the book
everything
is awesome.
Came from real life situations. It wasn't like I was just making it up. Everything was real, and that's what made it so easy too for me to come up with those lines. I basically had them in my journal. I just had to pull them out, because remember, the story was really long, and you said simplify, and I kept simplifying it. until finally I got the best lines. And then we turned it into a dialogue because I really wanted a dialogue between the brother and the sister, and you really were supported on that.
Yes.
And you know what, Vuthy, another thing that I really, really like, I was so thankful because this book has, helped my daughter look at the bright side of her brother, how he wasn't really annoying, how he was actually just loving her and trying to get her attention, because they love each other. So it actually, what this book did is it united them. And it helped them to become best friends. And then later, as I went sharing it at the schools, same thing was happening to a lot of my students. A lot of the kids that were telling me, oh my God, that's my life. And another thing, I think kids started to identify with the story. And it didn't only help my kids to get along, now it helps many kids to get along and stop and think about the positive side of every situation. So it turned out to be a great book. And guess how many years we're celebrating now, Vuthy? Do you know?
20?
It was published in 2003. So
It's almost 17 then.
17.
Wow.
17.
I can't believe it.
Mark, how old are you now?
22. So I would have been 5 years.
Yeah.
Hey,
You are a 5-year-old little boy.
Can I ask Mark a question?
Please.
I know you're the interviewer, I'm the interviewee, but I really want to know this, and I think that maybe the audience might too. But like, do you remember when the book came out, how you felt then, and then now how that's changed now? Being that you're the character of the book, you are the annoying little brothers.
No, seriously, my perspective has changed so much on it. So, I was a little kid, very, very short attention span, very, energetic and hyperactive kid. So to be honest, when I was a kid, I didn't appreciate it as much. I didn't understand it as much. I just thought that my mom's an awesome lady and she created something. I didn't really look at it like, oh, this was for us, for me and my sister in a lot of ways, right? So I didn't understand the message, but now that I'm older and I can comprehend a little bit better, I'm like, wow, that was really big. Mom, I want to honor you by writing a book and following your footsteps in a lot of ways. Thank you for all the inspiration. Thank you for showing the capabilities of a dream, and the perseverance of a dream. That's what really inspired me and has enlightened me now to this day. So
I gotta say, man, that touched my heart. I'm like on the verge of tears. I don't know who's watching this right now, but this is extremely inspirational. I mean, just because I know working with Marie from the beginning with the book, and now hearing you just say that now, I mean, I'm sure your mom is just like,
I'm like,
I mean, I don't know.
I
know, right?
Yeah, no, it really touches my heart. And, I wanted to publish a book that was going to help kids, but I really wanted to publish a book that was going to help my two little angels that were, not seeing things on the same page. And I wanted to inspire them. I think we write, a lot of the times we do write because we want to inspire the people we love, people we care. We want to give a good message. And little did I know that really it was going to be a powerful story, that it was still going to be 15 years later. I'm still selling the book. I'm still asking you for we're on second edition, right? And we ended up making it into a bilingual English and Spanish book. I would have never imagined, and that later my son was going to be inspired to then write his own book. It's just beautiful. You don't plan those things, but it's always good to plant good seeds because they will bloom eventually.
Right.
A lot of ways.
And
you did plant those seeds by doing that, though. You did
Yeah.
it. You did it. We watched you do it, and that's how we got inspired, just by sharing the light. Right? You do your thing, and the light just radiates, around you. Everybody's watching you, right? Paying attention. So
Yes.
So in a way, it's kind of like your first book about the garden and flowers and planting seeds. I think your first book is kind of, growing in a way.
It is growing. And you know what? That book now has a title, Vuthy. It's called the Flowers of Cuernavaca, which is where I grew up. And it has grown into a 3-4 levels deeper, more. So I will publish that book. I know I will. I even talked to my cousin, the one that used to play with the flowers with me and stuff, Betty. I know I'm going to do it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm ready to publish that book. And I even started doing photographs with the flowers because I used to turn them upside down and turn them into little princess and play with them when I was a little girl. So there's stuff, it's in the works.
Awesome.
You know what I think? I think sometimes a good thing with a few tweaks can be turned into a great thing. You know what I mean? So.
Oh, always. Yes.
All right.
What a beautiful conversation this is. I love it. You know,
Go ahead, Mom.
I feel so, I already feel inspired just by having this discussion. Because who would have imagined that from that discussion at that Randall's at a coffee shop, 15 years later, we were going to be here doing a podcast, co-hosting it with my son, the annoying little brother. I love it. I love it. Un beso, mi amor.
Yes.
I love you.
I want to say, if I can, if there are writers out there, you know, like young writers out there that would like some advice, like I know for me, my publishing company is Providence Publishing Company, and you know, just when I work with you, I really look for, you know, talented individuals who are also very positive, and you know, basically I look for personality more than just, you know, a good story. A good story, yes, is great. You need that, but that's not the most important thing for me. For me and my company, I look at the heart first. I look at honest people, easy to work with, people who are driven, people who are open-minded enough to, like, you know, think differently. Because back when we started, like, people didn't think the same way they do now. Like when they think of like a like, you know, a small publishing company, or like when I started, you know, people didn't. I don't think they looked. You know, they probably looked down on me and my company a little bit because I was so small. I wasn't like a huge New York publishing company, and honestly, I didn't like the way that they did it back then. I didn't like the traditional companies where you had to get an agent, then you'd have to send it over and over, get rejected over. You know, it's funny. People always tell me when I travel, they say, "Tell me that story, how you're rejected 1,000,000 times before you were finally published." I'm like, I'm not going to tell you that story because that's not my story. I don't want to be rejected hundreds and thousands of times and keep sending the same thing over and over that other people are going to reject. I want to improve on it. If I get rejected once, that's too much. You know, I'm going to improve on it and make sure that I'm going to have success with it the next time. You know, so I don't believe in throwing out the same bad stuff over and over. And I'm not saying, you know, the stuff that gets rejected all the time is bad, but I'm just saying I have a different mentality, you know? So if you look to try to touch the heart, if you try to evoke emotion, if you want to inspire, then go to the heart, shoot at the heart, you know, like what's going to inspire people, what's going to make them feel, what's going to make them react. You know, if it's going to be sad, if it, you know, if you want them to feel happy, make them feel sad first and then turn it around at the end, you know? So what's the conflict, you know? But think, what's personal to you? You know, what makes you, what makes you want to get up in the morning and, you know, and go out there and do it. You know, so don't just pick a topic that, you know, just comes to your mind. You think, oh, I want to do that because I want to do that. You know, no, you know, you need to think deeper. You know, what's going to inspire other people, not just what's going to, you know, just make me feel good about me. You know, a lot of people that want to write, they focus too much on themselves and what they want to feel, not what they want other people to feel. So anyway.
Great. I love that. That is so true.
Rules though. All right, what's going on, guys? We're going to finish the show off with a little rapid fire questionnaire here. I'm going to be reading a question, and then they're going to be giving me their response. Woody will go first, then my mom will go second. Vuthy, we're going to be doing maybe 1 to 3 sentences of an answer each, okay? All right, here we go. So question number 1, what did you do to get to where you are today?
I read a book, 2 books, and asked questions to other successful people, mainly.
Gotcha.
I hung around positive people people that were smarter than me that I could learn something from. And I also try to focus on ways of growing. What can I do to grow and learn something more than I ever had in the past? I don't know.
Yeah, and what can I grow right now in this present moment? What can I do? What can I plan now to do in the future to grow as well? You know, you got to think ahead as well.
Yes.
You had to plan this podcast, otherwise it wouldn't have happened, you know? So.
Yes.
All right. Good answers. Question number 2. What makes it all worth it for you?
For me, I love when kids smile, laugh, and then they come back and the teachers say, oh, you know, you've inspired our kids. You know, I love the positivity. And if I could just reach, I know it sounds cliche, but if I can touch, you know, like one life or 2 lives, or actually, I don't want to touch one life. I'm lying. I want to touch a lot of lives. People say, I want to touch one life. I'm like, no, I don't care about that one. I want a lot of lives.
Yeah. I agree with you. For me, I wanted to start with my own personal life. I wanted to reach and touch my 2 kids that I was in charge of as a single mom. So for many years until now, my number one interest is reaching my 2 kids so they can continue to shine and be a light in the world. And then the other one, it's just like you, Vuthy. I love the kids smiling, the hugs, the emails, and the vibes I feel. It's like almost like they charge me. They're like my battery. They keep me going.
Do you mind, Mark, if I add just one more thing to that?
Please.
Okay, I'm sorry. What I really like to do, my first book, Humpty Dumpty After the Fall, that I go and share, it actually, the message there is that, you know, even though you fall, that, you know, a dove can come down and touch you and, you know, and heal everything. So I became a Christian in college, and that book was actually written to try to share, you know, God and my faith. And so what I'm really hoping, you know, with public schools that I reach, that, you know, I can really inspire a lot of people with my faith as well, but without trying to beat them over the head with it, but by showing, you know, love and caring. And so really, yeah, that's really what my mission, I want it to be, but I would try to be delicate about it. So
I love
with you guys, I think I can say that. Is that okay?
No, please. That's beautiful. I knew that about you since I met you, because I love the book. Yes.
Absolutely. In a lot of ways, I can almost relate to the first thing you said, though, is trying to reach that one kid in that mass audience of hundreds of kids, right? So with that being said, I remember the time that me and my mom presented before she moved away to Colorado. We were there and we just finished presenting. We did the activity, the little fun activity, interactive activity with the kids. And I was out there and I was like picking kids to share their creation on stage, what they had created in the activity. And then there was this one little girl who didn't want to go up. She's like, I'm like, yours is awesome. You got to go show it. And she's like, no way. I'm not going up there. I'm like, hey, remember what I said during the presentation? You have to be able to push through these mental barriers to be able to grow and to, you know, to do what you want to do in life, right? She's like, all right, I'll do it. So she went up there and she did it, and she did great. And it was really cool. So I think that was, just for that one girl, it was all worth it, because I had a big impact in her thought process to just push through it, right, and do it. So it was really cool.
I love it.
So, all right, next question here. Let me pull it up here. Okay. So next question is, what are the success principles in your profession?
Okay. So in my profession, number one, I think you focus on other people first. So when you talk to people, you try to figure out what they want and what's good for them, and then you start kind of negotiating like what are win-win situations. So I think honesty, integrity, a lot of people try to kind of cheat their way through, you know, I know there's a lot of things out there nowadays where people try to like trick you into like getting into something, and, you know, and then they're just trying to take your money. I think, yeah, you might make a little money that way, but in the long run, it's not the right way to go. And I think, I don't know, I've met people that I thought were good people, and it just happened that, it was different from what I thought. And I'm like, it's not worth it, and, if you are constantly living your life in a way and doing business in a way that's unethical, it's going to catch up to you. Even if you get away with it for years and years, it's going to catch up to you. So just be, have integrity, do things the right way, focus on the Lord, and focus on other people. And I think that's the secret to success, in my opinion.
I love it. I love I go by the 4 secrets of Don Juan. Do you guys know this book? I'm reading it right now, but it talks about being impeccable with your word, always doing your best, which is some of the things you were talking about. Do your best, and then always don't make assumptions. Don't assume things, because that's going to get you into trouble, and even in relationships and friendships with your kids, never assume things. Investigate, learn, ask questions, just like you said, Vuthy, like you're right on it. And the new one that they've added is be skeptical, but learn to listen. So don't always believe everything you say, but learn to listen, and then do your research, that way you don't get taken for granted. You don't also get distracted into doing the wrong things. So to me, those are the most important things that have helped me. I read that book when I was in college, and it didn't really click. I was like, what do you mean? Like, be impeccable with your word, like, what does that mean? But as I went on with my life, I was like, who taught me to be impeccable with my words? My kids. Because, oh my God, if I said one thing wrong, they were like, Mom, but you said this, or you said you were going to be here in 5 minutes and you took 10. It's like, oh,
smart kids.
Yes. So the biggest lessons actually that I actually learned in my life were taught by my kids. I learned to listen to them. And our kids are smart. We just gotta learn to listen. So yeah, those are mine.
Mark, can I request, if you guys would ever like to have me back, I would love to do this. Can I request that we do one on success, that same question, but do a whole show on it? Because I have so much more to say about that. And I would love to, if you guys would have me.
You're invited. You're part of the family, and I'm so glad we finally make this happen, because I had mentioned this for us to unite and do a podcast, but we've been busy, and now because of COVID, I think it has forced us to kind of slow down and make time for things that are really important. And today's podcast is super, super important to me, but also it's almost like it's expected, because people have been like asking me, so who published your book and who's Vuthy Kuon? And then I'm sending them your information, but now they get to see your face and your awesome energy and the way you think. So it's awesome. We'll have you back, of course.
Awesome.
It would be amazing. I mean, it would be an honor. This was the whole idea, was that we would collaborate with this whole podcast thing. It's long overdue, like my mom just said. This could have happened a couple years ago when we started the So this was a great idea, though. I don't know why we didn't think of it sooner, Mom. I don't know what.
I did invite him before, but he had been busy. But thank God for COVID. A lot of people are slowing down because of COVID. In a way, I am thankful. In a way.
This online podcast stuff, like, this is really awesome that I can record it through the application here. It's really cool. But anyways, so let's go ahead and finish off the podcast. I have one more powerful question for you guys, and that is, Woody, Mom, what are your future plans for yourself and for your life and for your, what do you plan to share with the world here coming soon?
That is a great question. I actually was talking to my wife about what we're wanting to do. We're actually trying to figure out a way. Honestly, I kind of want to semi-retire. So I've been, because like my brain, I've got this brain that's kind of like an artist brain. So I'm like thinking, all over the place. But I started investing in the stock market recently since the market crashed, and been doing really, really well with it, even though, my school visits and everything has come to a halt. Until next year. I'm actually starting to schedule now for 2021 live visits, so I'm excited about that. But I also been doing more into real estate investing. So my cousin and I bought a couple of lots in Galveston, and so we sold one of them because, yeah, the value went up very quickly, and the other one we're gonna do a vacation rental with it, and that's part of the retirement plan. But I want to start working. I still want to work, but I want to work not because I have to work. I want to work because I want to work. So so for me, I want to get to a certain mindset where I don't have to work, so I can start doing other things to try to help people as well. I'd love to get, try to come up with ways to, help people, maybe through my church or maybe through, I'm not sure yet, but I want to do something bigger. I think the Lord wants me to do something bigger, and I don't know what that is yet, but so I'll get back with you on the details. So,
you know what? Yeah, I mean, about sharing your light, once you get to a point to where you become a master of your craft, you almost have an obligation to put some stuff out there, some social media clips, some YouTube videos, some podcasts with Shine Podcasts, things like that, to kind of distribute your wealth of knowledge that you have.
I love it. And I know, Vuthy, there's a reason why we met. Obviously, there's no coincidence. We met 15 years ago for a reason, and I think now it's a great time to continue. Now, take this baton that we were given to share the light and do some bigger things. For me, I wrote it when I was in high school, what I wanted to do when I got older. And it was to become a world youth leader. I always wanted to do that. I told Mark this many times. I want to be able to travel around the world and share stories, share positivity. I invited Mark to join me as well. And you already said yes, Mark, so we're going to do it together. But that's what I want to do. I want to be a world youth leader, inspire kids through the power of print, through the power of writing, whether it's through journaling or publishing books or even illustrating. We also have done art murals. We're not professionals in the art world, but we have a passion for art. So I also want to paint a couple of walls around the world, maybe in third world countries, just like I did in Jamaica last year.
Hey, Mom, I got to say, don't sell yourself short, Mom. You're a professional artist. Let's be real here. You've been here for too long to be saying this at this point.
I know, but I don't feel confident enough. I still have to practice, so I will get there. I want to be like some of my artist friends that I admire and love, So there's room to grow.
Look at all the paintings that you've created around your house right now. You created that flower crown. That's art. Are you kidding me? Come on.
Yes. Yeah, so that's my plan, and I hope one day I'm a little viejita, a little old lady with traveling and maybe on a plane back home, and I meet one of my former students who's now a doctor or the president of the United States saying, "Oh, are you Miss Cortez? I had you, I met you at this conference," or whatever. That's how I want to die, remembering those stories and those kids that crossed my path.
Dang, Mom, you went far with that one. That was good, Mom.
Yeah, I think that's why God put me on this world. And I can do it because I have you and your sister who are awesome. And I didn't have to worry about other crazy things that sometimes kids have to do when they're young. And they if you make a mistake, at least you've gone back, fixed it, and moved on. And I hope we can inspire a lot of young kids to it's okay if you make a mistake, but hey, notice it and move forward and leave those trash days behind you and move forward to the light. So that's how we want to end today's program, Mark. Anything you want to say?
Man, I just want to ask Vuthy, any other last words, man, before we end this podcast?
I just wanted one other thing. I love the way you think for being as young as you are, Mark. Like you're so advanced in your thinking. It's amazing. Like you even telling your mom, don't sell yourself short. You're already there. You already are, a professional artist. I love that because that's like, for me, like that's one, and I didn't answer that, but that should have been one of my answers or my answer. But like you basically just have to tell yourself, you know, I am successful. I'm already this. Because once you start saying that to yourself and you put yourself in a different situation, if you tell yourself that, you know, well, I'm gonna be there one day, maybe I might be there, you know, you're gonna move really slow. But if you're already there in your head, you're gonna move so much faster. I remember your mom early on when she talked to me, she said, I said, you know, you can already start doing speaking engagements as an author. She's like, what are you talking about? I can't do that. You even told me the same thing. You're like, I'm not an author yet. My book's not out yet, so I can't do anything. I'm like, are you kidding? You already are. Put it in your head. Your book is going to come out. We are working on a book together. It is going to be out next year. Boom, done. You know? And so once you put that in your head, you can start moving forward. You don't have to, like, you know, stall and wait to become that person. You can already be there. So therefore, in your mind, you're making all the steps and plans to catch up to where your mind is. You know, so I love that, man. You're way beyond your years. So good job, Marie, on that.
Yes. Well, thank you both for being with me today. And Mark, great job leading as a co-host. You always make us think and think outside the box and believe in ourselves. So I love that energy about you, Mark. Vuthy, thank you for being with us today. Let's do it again. So now we made a promise. We'll do the topic on success really soon. So let's schedule that as well. Thank you for joining our Shine podcast. Until next time, blessings. Remember to be a light in the world because it matters to those we love. See you soon. Bye-bye.
All righty, guys. Ask and you shall receive, believe, and you shall achieve. Take care, my friends. Adios.
Adios.